Now, astronomers at the University of Manchester's Jodrell Bank Centre for Astrophysics have discovered one of the hottest stars in the galaxy.
A phrase like that normally makes you think of the X Factor, doesn't it?
It does.
And joining us now to tell us all about it is Professor Albert Zilstra. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yes.
Professor, welcome. First of all, how do you discover one of the hottest stars in the universe?
You have to be very, very lucky. You have to be at the right place at the right time. We discovered it because of the upgrade to the Hubble Space Telescope. It was done over the summer.
Oh, yes, the space shuttle went up to do some maintenance and upgrade it, didn't it?
Yeah, it put a new camera in. With that camera, we observed a part of the sky we'd already observed before, and suddenly we found this star that had not been visible before.
So it was a complete coincidence. It just happened that you were checking the camera at the time and there it was?
It was a coincidence that this picture was taken. We knew there was a hot star there.
Yeah.
And we've been looking over it before. We have not been able to find it.
Picky there of it. How hot is this star?
The star is 200,000 degrees centigrade.
And I don't know if this is a daft question, but how do you know how hot that star is?
Because of the effect it has on the cloud around it. As you look at the image, you can see the beautiful nebula around it. And that is brought to light by the star in the centre.
So other stars that aren't as hot don't sort of have as many rays and don't look as bright as that?
Well, it has these rays because of this particular star. I mean, it is dying. And while it is dying, it has ejected a lot of its gas into space. And that's what you see. It is then illuminated by this hot star, and so that's how we know that the star must be so hot. But we'd never seen the star before.
And it's called?
The Buck Nebula.
So what does that actually mean?
Well, it was the person who discovered it was more than 100 years ago, the nebula. He made a drawing it that looked like a bug, like an insect. If you look at it now, I cannot see it, but the name has stuck ever since.
And how important is it for Jodrell Bank, for sort of science in our area, that it's been discovered here, as it were?
The effect on Jodrell Bank, of course, we are a scientific institution. We do research. This is the kind of things we want to find. We're going for discoveries. Because
I've been reporting that your funding is under threat, is it not? Or it has been, at least up to some point. There's been some question about whether you'll get the funding that you want to pursue your research.
Yeah, the funding for science in general is under threat. I mean, the government has a lot of demands on the money, and astronomy is not particularly high up on the list at the moment.
But this presumably sort of enhances your position when asking for money from the government, does it?
It clearly does well. We'd like to get attention for these things, and to make the discoveries, and to make people excited about astronomy.
What else has Jodrell Bank discovered? To put this in the scheme of things, how important is this star?
It is very important to our understanding of how a galaxy evolves. I mean, you make stars out of gas that is between the stars. That gas gets there because old stars have ejected it. And so, in a way, you're recycling material from stars. During the recycling, it's creating new things. It's creating carbon, creating dust grains. And those things make the planets. And they make the life. And so the whole thing is a cycle. We don't understand that cycle particularly well. This object helps a great deal to make clear how this cycle actually works, where the material that you and I are made of comes from.
It's interesting stuff, isn't it?
It's fascinating stuff, isn't it? On the face of it, you just look out at the dark night sky and there they are twinkling away, but there's far more to it than that, isn't there?
That is what we keep saying, people.
We expect you to come back next time with a planet, please. We want a planet.
You want to discover a new planet?
I do.
You're not asking much, are you? Professor, thanks for the insight. Very nice to have met you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terrific.